Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be doing the Netflix book tag, which is a combination of two of my favorite things, Netflix and books. I saw this tag going around, so I thought I'd give it a go, so let's just get into it. Recently watched the last book that you finished reading. So the last book that I finished reading was Beartown by Frederick Backman. This is about a town called Beartown that is obsessed with hockey. They're like in the middle of nowhere, but they are known for being like a hockey town. However, something horrifying happens where the star of the hockey team rapes a girl. And this book kind of centers around how the town reacts to that. And not gonna lie, it can be extremely aggravating at times given the subject matter. But overall, I thought it was brilliantly done. I loved the way that Frederick Backman addressed all these issues. He posed so many questions and talked about so many issues with this event, but also just in general with people and relationships and family. I thought it was brilliantly done. I think everyone should read this. So my mini book review, but yeah, that was the last book that I read. Top picks, a book that has been recommended to you based on a book that you've previously read. For this, I have The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This was recommended to me based off of The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, which is a book I read a few years ago and absolutely loved. I think it's because both of these are magical realism, and I'm pretty sure they both deal with very hard-hitting topics. They are very emotional and very vulnerable. And if those recommendations are true and that they are pretty similar, I think I'm going to really enjoy The Astonishing Color of After because I really did enjoy reading this book. Recently added, the last book that you bought. Technically, I have two answers for this because I bought them at the same time, but it is King of Scars by Leo Verdugo and Beartown by Frederick Backman. I actually went solely to buy this book, but then this was on sale, so you can infer the rest. Popular on Netflix, books that everyone knows about, and I have to pick two that I've read and two that I have no interest in reading. So I could go pretty easy and be like Harry Potter and Percy Jackson because everyone knows those, but I'll try to be a little more creative. But they're still not going to be creative because everyone knows these books. Anyway, at least recently, I think Six of Crows has been super popular, and I think everyone has at least heard of it. I mean, it's been talked about so much, especially since the Netflix show has been announced. And then I think everyone knows about Throne of Glass to some extent. Is the question everyone knows about, or has everyone read it? No, it's knows about. So yeah, I think everyone knows about Throne of Glass, whether for good or bad reasons. And two books that I have no interest in reading is also Throne of Glass. At least the rest of the books. I know that I don't remember enough to go straight into the fifth book. And if I'm being honest, I don't care enough to finish the rest of the series. I think I've just heard so many mixed reviews about the later books that I'm like, why would I put in so much time if I don't know if I'm gonna like it? I'm sorry if I offend anyone. I don't mean any disrespect. I just don't want to read it. And the other book is probably The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This one has been massive on Twitter, on Goodreads. I've just seen everybody read it. And part of me is still a little bit interested in reading it just because it is so hyped. But really nothing about the synopsis intrigues me. But this one is a book that I am kind of borderline on. Like, I could be convinced to read it if enough people say I should. Comedies, a funny book. By far, the book that has made me laugh the most is The Martian by Andy Weir. This is freaking hilarious. It's about a guy who gets stranded on Mars after a mission goes wrong. So that synopsis sounds pretty like dark and scary and terrifying, and it is, but the main character, Mark Watney, has the best sense of humor and deals with it in such a hilarious way. This book is told through log entries, and since Mark is pretty much alone throughout the book, you see a lot of his internal monologues, and they're so funny. He has a fantastic sense of humor. Dramas, a character who is a drama queen / king. The drama king I chose was Apollo from Trials of Apollo. To be honest, he kind of has a right to be dramatic. He was a god, and now he has been cursed to live as a mortal. But dude is so self-absorbed that it's kind of annoying to hear how much he complains about living as a mortal. It's very funny at times, but also sometimes I'm just like, Apollo, please calm down. Watch It Again, a book or series that you want to reread. And I have a lot for this one because I love rereading and I don't do it enough. The first one that I want to reread is the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series because the last time I fully read the series I think was 8th grade. So almost 5 years ago now, which is wild to me. And I found that I've forgotten a lot of the details and I just really want to be immersed and love that story again. I also really want to reread Harry Potter, which is something I also haven't reread since 8th grade. So pretty much it's because the Fantastic Beasts franchise and J.K. Rowling have kind of been you know, not the best. And I think it's kind of tarnished my view on Harry Potter in general. And I don't want to let the things that happen now affect what I thought of the original series. And I just kind of want to remember why I loved that series in the first place. And the last book I want to reread is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. And this is because I think I was too young when I first read this book. I think I was like 12, and 12-year-olds can be mature, but I was not. I was not ready for how explicit some of the themes and content in this book were, and I think that kind of blinded me from seeing the actual message of the story and actually getting its impact. So I'm thinking maybe if I reread it now as an adult, I would enjoy it a lot more. Documentaries, a nonfiction book that you'd recommend to everyone. And for this I'm kind of cheating because I haven't actually finished this book, but it's The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And the reason why I'd recommend this to everyone is because the story in here is freaking wild. This talks about Henrietta Lacks, who was a black woman living in the 1950s who developed ovarian cancer. And what was special about her case in specific was that her cancer cells never died. They were the only human cells to never die in a petri dish. And the hospital that she was being treated at took samples of her cells without her consent, and they have been the reason why the HPV vaccine has been developed, why the polio vaccine was developed. So many scientific achievements have been because of her cells. And this book talks about her life living as a black woman in the 1950s and disparities in healthcare, and the legal conflict that arose because these cells were not taken with her consent, and the fact that her family was not notified that these cells had been used even today. This book does not read like a nonfiction. There is dialogue, there is reports. It is written by the journalist who uncovered this case, and so I think it's very accessible to people who don't normally read nonfiction. Action and adventure, an action-packed book. Now, the first thing that came to my mind was Legend by Marie Lu, but frankly, I don't remember a lot about this book. I remember that I loved it, and I do remember that the action scenes were written so well and they were so riveting, and I just really wanted them to make a movie out of it because I'm like, she gave you such good substance and such good source material that would make for a very entertaining movie. Also, any Rick Riordan book has tons of action and adventure in them. I'll go with Magnus Chase as an example because I don't think I've mentioned Magnus Chase at all on this channel yet, but I really love this series, and I think the action is so entertaining and it's so fun. And it's what you expect from a fun middle grade fantasy novel. New releases, a book that has just come out or a book that will be coming out soon that you were excited to pick up. This came out 2 months ago now, but King of Scars was the one that I was most excited for, and I'm almost done with it. I literally have like less than 50 pages left. I will finish this, I swear. But a book that is coming out soon is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. That comes out May 7th, I think. And I'm really excited for it because one, it's a booktuber book and I really want to support her, but two, I'm also just really in the mood for a fun contemporary book, and it's about study abroad, so I'm in and I'm so excited to read it. And the last question is to tag some people, and I tag anyone who wants to do this tag. I don't remember who has done it already because it's kind of been out for a while, but if you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. Alright, so that's all the questions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun talking about Netflix and books with me. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye!